Part 3 Execution 3.1 Project Conditions in the cutting tank access holes. No use of the tanks for the without manhole use for tanks without manholes modified appropriate for the ensuring vapor freeing cold cutting. Tanks in the project may not have manholes. A hole of suitable size for the may be cut in the tank to gain access to the tank interior vapor-free tank, and then performing preliminary cleaning for the cutting of the tank. Performing the tank cutting using cold pressure, no hot work in cutting shall be permitted. 312. The permission of each entry into the tank. Obtaining the written permission of the contracting officer prior to each of the entry into the tank. Permission will be granted only under the following conditions: the contract qualified supervisor is present. The contractor personnel has not been, the contractor personnel have been briefed, and the supervisor and the procedure roles such of each employee in the event of an emergency. Required equipment is approved of the properly located. The personnel are properly equipped with the properly fitted protective equipment and have received adequate training for the qualified instruction. The entire area adjacent to the tank is secured. The minimum of the 2 person outside, 2 more person inside each of the tank approved all during the cleaning operations. And note the lead limit of the 0.05 milligrams per cubic meter is consistent with the Title 29 Code Federal Regulations 19101 or .1025. Tank area monitored corrective action is taken to ensure the vapor concentration is not less than 10% of the lower flammable limit of the LFL. Lead in air is less than 0.050 milligrams per cubic meter. The hydrogen sulfide is lead in the 10 ppm and permissible exposure to level of the pill. Benzene is less than 1 ppm, and the EPL oxygen content minimum of 19.5%. The NFPA certified marine chemist and the CIH is certified that the tank is safe for hot work. The required special precautionary measures that have been taken potential health hazards to the worker that still exist in the vapor concentration as well as below the LFL. Contractors shall be reasonable for the reviewing record or drawing for the tank to be clean. People in the entering and the leaving leave smoking materials such as cigarettes, flammable, reproductive, primal producing devices as at a previous determined location. When working handles disposal hazards of waste, the contracting a copy of Title 40 Code Regulations 260, 4261, 4262, 4263, 4264, 4265, 4266 in his possession. A copy of the Title 40 Code Regulations. Permit the only personnel authorized and safe person within 100 feet of the tank. Permit 3.13. The traffic control direct traffic minimum of 60 meters to 200 feet away from the tank cleaning area. Such set up roadblocks, warning signs. Do not operate the vehicle in hazardous waste. Hazardous areas. 3.14 laboratory facilities. Obtaining data of the paragraph of the commanding officer individual Navy facilities having tanking for the cleaning. Delete the brackets. Word in the brackets. They shall be non-leaded fuel in any of the tanks. Arranging the laboratory toilet facilities and in the case of tanks, the leaded fuel provided by showers and bathing. 3.1.5 miscellaneous. Ensure the manufacturers have been labeled and containers holding productive involving hazardous storage in accordance with Title 29 Code Federal Regulations 1910-1200. Label containers used to store and dispose hazardous waste in accordance with Title 40 Code Regulations. 260, 261, 262, 263, 264, 265, 266, and the state regulations remove all small objects, various metals, working areas to prevent accidental striking for the spark in place of equipment, unit upwinding, tank opening of the highest elevation possible. Do not remove all small objects, various metals, working areas to prevent accident striking of the spark. Please equipment upwinding tank openings highest elevation possible. Do not place a spot lower than surrounding terrain. Review the drawings of the tank to be clean. Brief workings and locations of the pits, sumps, and pipes, and other tanking appurtenances which could be hazardous to personnel. Provide floodlights to illuminate the work area without need of a battery-operated headlights. Provide a scaffolding platform ladders, and for secure, safe, accessible tank surfaces, install electrical equipment in accordance with the API 3RP 5500, provided the floodlights illuminate the work area needed for the battery-operated headlights. Do not use artificial lights inside the tank until the tank is vapor-free, unless otherwise approved by the tanker officer. Do not heat the tanks during the winter and to provide personnel comfort for the metal ice. 13151. The grounding and bonding of the equipment. Provide the grounding and bonding for the equipment, which is generally static electricity, including air hoses, sandblasting nozzles. Do not pass the air hose through the area with a flame pass an air hose through an area where the flammable vapor exists. 3152. Fire extinguishers. Note the coordination of the local fire department determining minimum quantities of the fire extinguisher for the specific job. Furnishing 2 blank carbon dioxide fire extinguishers, per minimum of 7 kilograms per 15-pound capacity each. Immediately vicinity of the work provided a continuous fire watch contained. Do not discharge the high-pressure carbon dioxide extinguisher and the explosive vapors exist, since the discharge can cause a spark will ignite the vapors. 3153. Disconnect the pipelines. Disconnect the pipelines connected by the tank. Insert a solid plate line and flange between 2 flanges near the tank, and the removal of the valve and piece and pipe, and then installing a blind flange and prevent the flammable material from entering the tank from underground tanks where connected to the pipelines are buried. Binding of off the pipelines nearest to the valve box. Blind flanges shall be sufficient strength and withstand pressure that which exerted in the material being blanked off, and shall be gasketed on both sides of the blinding flange and inserted between the 2 flanges. Caution: do not disconnect the pipe valves until the certain line of the empty fuel so the certain of the line has been emptied of the fuel. 3154. Removal of ignition systems. Ignition sources. Removal of source of ignition from clean air. Do not permit ignition producing devices, including matches, lighters, cigarettes, within 30 meters or 100 feet upwind or 600 meters, 200 feet downwind of the tank inside of the tank farm within the tank firewall, whichever is farther. 31535. Survey the hazardous areas. Carefully survey the entire area around the tank will be entered and ensure that there are no vapors present in the pit, low places, hazardous areas, unauthorized personnel cleared air from the area, ensuring that there is no possibility of anyone smoking in the immediate vicinity. Hazardous areas defined as the following: interior tank areas of 30, and the interior of the tanks areas 30 meters 100 feet from the points of flammable vapor emission, which is example of the exhaust main holes of the tanks under the repair, open valves and pressure vacuums, breathable valves. Any active tanks of the vicinity of the tanks under the repairs of cleaning allowance shall be made of the 6 or more kilometers for the H 4 and more miles per the winds, increasing the size of the hazardous area to the minimum of 60 meters by 204 feet of downside. They approve for above ground tanks. All areas of the common input and deck up the height of the deck walls within 3 meters of the 3 meters 10 feet in all directions of the exterior surface of the tank shell foot. 3156. Exiting the tank during emergencies. To permit quick free exit to the tank during emergency. Keep the area around the tank opening the emergency routes and clear of obstruction.